Okay.
So let's wait for 2 minutes.
Okay.
So hi everybody. I was facing some kind of problems with my microphone and camera, so I'm here.
Okay. Hi.
Hi, Georgie.
Hi, Georgi.
Hello, everybody.
Okay, I will start and then I'll give word to you. Okay, მოგესალმებით ხალხო. დღეს გვექნება Dynatrace-ის შესახებ ვებინარი, რომელზეც გაგაცნობ Dynatrace-ის ფუნქციონალს, რაც გააჩნია გარდა APM-ის. APM-თან დაკავშირებით მეტნაკლებად ალბათ ყველასთვის კარგად ცნობილია რა შესაძლებლობები აქვს და დღეს მაგასაც შევეხებით, მაგრამ გარდა ამისა Dynatrace ყოველდღიურად ემატება ახალი ფუნქციონალი, რომელიც თქვათ APM-თან დაკავშირებული არ არის, მაგრამ სრულიად ავსებს Dynatrace-ის ფუნქციონალს. რაც შეეხება Zoom-ის წესებს, ვებინარის დროს შეგიძლიათ ნებისმიერ დროს დააჭიროთ ღილაკს raise hand, მე მაგას დავინახავ და ჩაგიხსოვთ მიკროფონს და შეძლებთ კითხვა დაუსვათ ჩვენ სტუმრებს, ანუ სტუმრები ყავს Evgeny Goncharenko კომპანია Bakotec-იდან და Janusz Dabrowski კომპანია Dynatrace-იდან. ასე որ გადავცემ ახლა სიტყვას Evgeny's. შენ давай.
Hi. Good morning. Can you hear me well, guys? And please let me know if you can see my screen, my presentation.
Yes, we can see.
Okay, so thanks, Sandro, for the introduction. Good morning to everybody. I'm Eugene Goncharenko. I'm responsible for Dynatrace business at Bakotec, and Bakotec is a master partner of Dynatrace in the region. We act like a local office partner for Dynatrace for Ukraine, Georgia, Azerbaijan, and Baltic states. And together with me today, our good friend and sales engineer from Dynatrace, Janusz Dąbrowski, who will help us and deliver the demo after my few slides as an introduction.
Hello, good morning.
Okay, hi. So thanks to HT Solutions for organizing this webinar. HT Solutions is our strategic partner for Dynatrace in Georgia, and thanks to their team, Dynatrace family is growing in Georgia and is one of the biggest actually from the customer number perspective in our region. So there, thanks to all the team again. So let's move. For those who may not ever heard about Dynatrace, just a few words about the company itself and why we pretend that we can speak about monitoring and why we believe we understand a little bit in this topic. For 10 years, Gartner is releasing already Magic Quadrant for application performance monitoring, and for all these 10 years, Dynatrace and its previous company name called CompuWare is among leaders in right up corner of this report. So that's makes us feel that we have some understanding in the monitoring industry and how to do monitoring products good. We have a quite big partner ecosystems, technological partner, technology coverage. It's one of the unique on the market among the number of technologies we support. And also what is important that we rely on local partners like HT Solutions in Georgia to help you to achieve the best results and get the best value out of the product with your particular requirements in your IT organization. But again, if we speak about the monitoring, and this is a very tight topic to very connected topic to digital transformation. And if we speak about digital transformation, it's hard to not to mention COVID-19 situation, because it is really changing our life. It changed the world already, and the effort companies are making to develop remote channel, digital channels when their customers are locked at homes on the quarantine is really tremendous. And it is touching actually all the industries. It doesn't matter if you are educating yourself or making your school for your kids, you're shopping, you're going, applying to doctor, traveling, whatever. These days, remote channels and digital business is something which is close to either your business will sustain in these difficult times or not. And in this situation, IT should develop and should be as fast as business and help business to deliver this digital stories to their customers. And to make this, they have to change and they have to develop their landscape with the speed of business. And this is brings a lot of new challenges. First of all, we call this a new mixture of technologies and enterprise cloud, because it's not longer the solid IT which is stuck inside your data center with less of changes. It is already widespread among several locations, hybrid clouds. It is scaling very fast to handle the load which is possible, and it is now all software. Not only when we are talking about applications, but storages, infrastructure, network, everything is software defined. The dynamic of these environments is crazy these days. More than 70% of modern software architecture has been designed with microservices and containers architecture from by design. And introduction and the more and more adoption of DevOps methodology brings the speed of the releases, but it also brings a lot of changes, and speed of changes is really high. And this is all these things are giving us new questions: how to get, how to rethink the observability, how to understand how the enterprise IT is feeling and if it is delivering the way that business is expecting. And this makes a lot of companies to rethink their monitoring strategy to get this observability. And when we are talking about observability, there are like modern common concept of how to get, where we can get this information from IT infrastructure. And of course, there are three like the topics which are where we can get the information from. So these are the metrics from your infrastructure, these are the logs from your infrastructure, and traces. And of course, all of them, they have pros and cons. Metrics are easy to visualize in dashboard, but they are lacking a lot of deep dive and context. From the logs perspective, they are pretty easy to collect, but they are expensive to store, and the value of information which we can get from the logs are still lower than okay. And of course, here comes the traces. And traces, these are like one of the most important parts if we want to get all the things together, because they give us end-to-end visibility, but also they can introduce some overhead on our systems. And still, there are a lot of context missing of infrastructure and underneath environment. So also, when we as a company were rethinking of our second generation APM product, we were also facing these challenges. We were looking on how IT environments are changing. And we understood when we were analyzing this concept that a lot of pieces of the puzzle are missing. And we believe that, for example, in the modern world, in the modern IT environments, to instrument or to add objects to monitoring in a manual manner, this is no longer possible, because in the dynamic environments, it will not bring you any result, and you will constantly be adding manually the objects. So we understood that we had to introduce the discovery mechanism, which will automatically find new objects of your IT services and add that to the monitoring landscape. Then also, if we want to understand how all the things are working together, we need to understand the dependencies. We need to map all the things together with all these fluid architectures. That is the component which is also lacking in this story. And we were thinking how to add that. And also, if you want to understand the business context of the ongoing things, of the transactions, how to prioritize from the business impact all the incidents, and understand how your customers are doing, is it okay or not, then you need to introduce what we call DEM, or digital experience monitoring, to able to analyze activities from end user perspective. Doesn't matter if it's a web or mobile. And when you get all these things together, you will get a lot of data. And then you will come to understanding that no longer humans can analyze this data and be proactive and understand what is causing what was the root cause of the problem. So you need the AI, you need the machine which will help you to go through all these dependencies, analyze where transactions started, what they hit, what was the context, what was going on in the environment, and so on. And with that concept in mind, Dynatrace several years ago completely redesigned their monitoring platform, which is now called Dynatrace, and melting all the experience together and adding these new components which are missing in the modern monitoring systems. Also, the crucial fact is that the OneAgent technology is still very simple to deploy in your environment, and we are getting information not only from the application components by automatically discovering them and instrumenting them all together, but also we are getting information from logs. We are enriching that with the metrics from your environment, and we also get information from digital experience module all together. And Davis is analyzing that automatically for you, giving the answers, not just the data, to your teams. And the teams which are usually using Dynatrace may be completely different. Usually we land at IT operations and helping them to decrease mid-time to react, mid-time to repair on the incidents, providing them automatic root cause. But also Dynatrace is often used in pre-production and development environments where we are helping by integrating with DevOps toolchains. We are helping companies to release faster and go with less release cycles, with automating the testing and analyzing the results. And also, a lot of information is used by business to understand, to get them business insights from digital channels. We will cover these use cases a little bit later on the demo. But just from the architecture perspective, how does it looks like? So first option of deployment of Dynatrace is Dynatrace SaaS. From TCO perspective, it's the most affordable one, and everything you need to install on your premises is the OneAgent on your host, and it will collect all the data from your environment, melt together and send via HTTPS secure link to Dynatrace Cloud, where all the magic will happen for you. You can roll it out in the minutes, literally in the minutes. Then if there is no possibility to use SaaS option, then Dynatrace Managed is the way to use Dynatrace, when all Dynatrace server is located on your premises together with agents, and all the analysis, all the data stays in your data center. And the only thing is that we need to have a HTTP connection to Dynatrace Cloud for a mission control, so module which is doing the health check and sending the updates and helping support to analyze your environment in case of any troubles. And of course, from the use case perspective, attaching this story. So again, a lot of customers are starting using Dynatrace from the classic APM use case to analyze their critical applications, to reduce mid-time to repair. Together with infrastructure metrics, artificial intelligence helps them to get all the things together and provide answers instead of the data. But also, especially during the last several months, Dynatrace is actively developing their infrastructure monitoring part for those applications where do not require the full stack, as we call it, monitoring. It is really easy to roll out for the whole environment Dynatrace OneAgent in infrastructure mode. And from the TCO perspective, it is comparable to Zabbix or Prometheus, but instead of like open source tools are getting the data and you have to work with that, Dynatrace AI is still in play, and it will still build the map. It will still analyze the dependencies and help you to analyze what is going on with your infrastructure and whether there is any attention required from your side. And as it was mentioned before, also the business analytics and digital experience module is also an option and a very very often used use case for a lot of customers when companies are first of all using session replay, are reducing the load on the first and second line support by helping customers to understand and tackle the problems they're facing with the applications, but also analyzing the user experience and getting them business insights about the important business transactions of their digital channels. So what is important to mention, this is one single platform that, but you just enable the functionality you need, but still AI at the core and one single solid software which is ready to do the case you want. By saying this, I will pass word to Janusz, and he will show the magic live.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Eugene. And Let me start sharing my screen. I have a couple of different. Okay, this is the demo environment I would like to show. Can you see my screen? Can you hear me well? I hope so.
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay, brilliant, excellent. So after that introduction that Eugene just did, I will expand it and show how it looks, how it works in live environment. I will also provide you a couple more examples on not only observability on software, on infrastructure, on applications, but also what business value you can get out of using Dynatrace for monitoring your environment. So generally, if somebody asks me what is actually Dynatrace, I would say it is AI-assisted intelligence platform that allows advanced observability to drive massive automation across the organization. So it's a lot of promises in that sentence. You will see that during we go through that demo, especially those who have never heard of Dynatrace so far, you will see that you will be familiar with couple of different functionalities. So maybe if we are talking about pure application monitoring, you will be thinking of New Relic or maybe AppDynamics. If we are talking about ability to monitor the infrastructure monitoring, maybe SolarWinds or Datadog will be solutions that will cross to your mind. Log monitoring with that Eugene mentioned that Splunk or Sumo Logic can provide. Mooksoft for AI ops and probably many more different categories that Dynatrace as a one single platform can fall into. So Dynatrace as a software intelligence platform consumes a tremendous amount of data. And this data, as it was already mentioned, is constantly analyzed by the AI and artificial intelligence engine. Not only provide you the data, but also but primarily the answers. So how Dynatrace consumes the data? Data can be consumed by the Dynatrace in a couple of different ways. The primary way of consuming data is OneAgent. This is a piece of agent. This is a piece of code that it will be deployed, that can be deployed in your server, in the monitored server. But this is not the only way of monitoring, of getting the data into the Dynatrace. You can digest the data through the API. You can digest the data through the plugins that can enrich the data to the Dynatrace. Dynatrace can also is integrated with synthetic monitoring solution that can allow you to add the synthetic robots to either your robot or Dynatrace also hosts a number of robots in the cloud that can also synthetically test your environment. So it's not only the agent which is feeding the data. And as I said, the primary way of deploying the agent of getting the data is OneAgent. Now, installing the agent is tremendously easy, because as we had experience with in the APM space for almost for more than 10 years actually, we discovered that the way how we had to install the agent in the previous generation of the APM product was simply too difficult. It was no longer fitable to the modern stack. Okay, something which was possible 10, 7 or 5 years ago, where you had a static infrastructure and static components, is no longer true in situation that you have a constant change, that you may have a constant change in your environment. When you deploy the microservices that you can fire and deplete the microservices after a couple moments. Then you expect to have a maybe hundreds of agents, maybe thousands of agents in the modern technology that you in the modern stack that where you have actually a lot of little microservices, etc. So how do we deploy Dynatrace? Deploying Dynatrace is very simple. So if I click here on the demo environment, the deploy Dynatrace, you will see that we have a couple of different options, and the deploying OneAgent on the server looks very simple. So depending on the technology, if this is Windows, Linux, Solaris, we can select one of them. So deploying the agent on the Linux machine, for example, is ridiculously simple. So this is actually 3 command line arguments that you need to do. You need to download the agent from the Dynatrace cluster. Then you need to verify the signature, and then you need to run and install the agent. That's all. That's all you need to do to deploy the agent on the machine. So agent is already self-signed with the cluster. So agent already knows the IP addresses, configuration, everything. You don't longer need to touch anything more on your machine, apart from just installing the agent. And if you want to have the deep dive visibility, you need to restart the processes that you want to monitor. Why is it important? Because that allows you to deploy the agents very fast. You can use the scripts to install the agents on the machine. You can use Ansible Tower. You can, if you have virtual machines, you can simply bake in the agent into the virtual machine image, for example, and then simply if you trigger the machine, then boom, you already have instrumented server. Also for Kubernetes, for Dockers, we have the way of automatic deploying the agents using the operator, for example, that will make installation of agent extremely easy. So once you deploy the agent on the machine, what is the result of that? Now I go into something which is called the Smartscape topology. Smartscape topology is the way how Dynatrace agent can see the environment. This is not something that we expect you to see as a dashboard. This is simply visualization of how Dynatrace recognizes the environment. So once we have agents installed on the host, the data center will be automatically recognized. So as you can see, we have a couple of different technologies. Here we have bare metal servers, we have Amazon, we have Azure, and etc. We have virtual machines. So each technology actually for Dynatrace is equal. So if we have anything like in this example AWS availability zone, we currently see 2 Linux machines which are installed there and 2 Windows machines. And once the agent is installed on the Linux machine, it not only starts monitoring this machine itself, because obviously it will start monitoring all the technologies for that machine, but it will grab some additional statistics like CPU, network interface card, memory, etc. Something that is pretty basic, but it will also start automatically recognize which processes are installed on the top of that. On the top of that hosts. So if there is a technology that we can automatically out of the box instrument, the agent will be automatically injected into the processes. So now you can see the list of different processes that run on that host. It is Java. It can be some Jetty. It can be some Apache Tomcat, which is running. And if we again instrument that, Dynatrace will automatically discover the endpoints, the service endpoints, which works on that specific process. And if there is application, we'll go into the applications later on. Then it will also be automatically mapped into the services. So data center host process as a running code on the host, and services as a endpoints that receives the data from the external world, plus application. Application is something which is where your customers are interacting with. So for example, if somebody is using the application which is web-based, the JavaScript agent will be automatically injected by the agent to the code, and that will give us the ability to monitor the user activity. On the browser application, maybe also on the web, on the mobile application. So this is something which, that OneAgent will provide that to you. Yes, so this is not only horizontal dependency mapping, but it is also the vertical dependency mapping. So agent will, as agent starts monitoring data, it understands which components given process in this case is communicating to. So we can see that this Apache Tomcat is communicating with that Apache HTTP server, and that Apache server is communicating with yet another Tomcats, etc. So all that dependency mapping will start to be tracked automatically. You don't need to configure anything for the agent to understand the relations between the components. So that is important, because not only you will install the agent once, but we expect that the dynamics in your environment will happen. So it may happen that you will change the environment, that you will change the deployment, that you will provide some new version that may behave differently, that you can change something in your configuration, that you can add some additional nodes, remove some additional nodes. So Dynatrace will automatically track that. And for artificial intelligence is extremely important, because you don't need to manually program the artificial intelligence or the AI ops application for them to understand the relation. And understanding the relation is the key for AI engine to see what is happening in that environment. So once we have that already visible, so once we have that visibility, and okay, obviously I cannot show everything, but also as we see for the hosts, we can see also statistics from processes, statistics from services, and many more. But Dynatrace starts, once you deploy the agents, Dynatrace will start listening to your application, start observing your application, and will start building a baselines. So baseline will allow Dynatrace to see the abnormalities. And if there are any abnormalities, then Dynatrace will automatically detect the abnormal situation, and it will be shown, the problem will be shown in so-called problem ticket. So for example, now if I it's a demo environment. Obviously, I have many different problems at the moment. So maybe I will find some exemplary problem. That okay, we detected that there was a user action duration degradation for some specific application. We can see that one application was affected, 9 services were affected, and 2 infrastructure components were affected. Not only Dynatrace will provide you the root cause analysis. So not only Dynatrace will tell you exactly where the problem is, where the problem lies, but also it will provide you the impact. What was the business impact? Was that problem impacting the users, or maybe users were not impacted? Maybe it was one of the machines were down, but users were never impacted because you have load balancing, which prevented users from seeing that problem. In this example, we had 262 impacted real users, and almost 500 million affected service calls, which were affected. One impacted application, plus additional abnormalities that Dynatrace was able to find for you related with this specific problem. And by the way, Dynatrace has to analyze over 1 billion different dependency. Dependency is that relations between the component to find that specific, to be able to find the root cause of that problem and show them what actually was the cause of that problem. And now I will show the result and the consequence of that problem in the view which is called visual resolution path. I will make full screen, maybe it will be visible a little bit better. So now this is, I can even play back how the problem actually was evolving. So now, as I see, the problem started in, I don't know, 7, 8 in the morning. And as you can see, currently, at this specific moment of time, 37 different events were triggered in 12 completely different components. So obviously, if you have problem with one component in your environment, not only one component is affected, but if you have a problem with one application, with one service, and the other service depends on that service, then obviously other services also affected. So now Dynatrace was able to understand which other components were affected and what was the common root cause. As you can see, we have a number of different problems in different components, like web request server, web service, custom service, web application. They were all affected. So in the traditional APM solution, if you had that properly configured, you would at this moment get at least 37 different alerts from the different components, and that would be your role to understand what was the common source of that specific problem. Dynatrace will do that for you, and will allow you to understand where actually the problem was happening and what was the reason of that. Obviously, we see that this specific business backend was affected. So now we can even see that in the graph. We can go deeper into the data to understand where in the code the problem actually lied. So now if I go into that, I mentioned that we are able to see the business impact. So for example, we have that one of the applications which were affected. We have some affected users, and now we can even go into the specific user that was affected by that problem, and we can see what actually this user was doing. So as I said, our agent will OneAgent will automatically inject the OneAgent into the monitored application. And here we have the application, and we see one individual session of one specific user, which is recognized by the username. We can see what browser is using, where is it coming from by the IP address. We can do some additional analysis. We can see what users did the activity. So he was loading some page, locations, journeys, etc. And then he bought and validated the credit card. So actually he bought the product that we are offering on our term. So even more, we can click the session replay, and for supported technologies, we can, if I now click play, this is not me moving the mouse. My hands are here, and we can replay what exactly did customer do when he was browsing the web page, and what activities did this user do. So we can track what user did. It is essentially important to troubleshoot the problems related with the usability of the product, etc. So now we have the complete session of that user simply replied. So the application that we are monitoring is currently is that something which we are calling Easy Travel. This is like actual application that could be used by the users or by the brokers who sell the travels. So this is the actual application which is working in behind, and that is synthetically run by the robots. And we see one of the user sessions here working. So this is what Dynatrace is. And obviously we can go even deeper. So for example, if there is the activity like if there is by the way, if a customer did something which we expected him to do, so conversion, we can say that user has converted. Converted means he did the activity that actually means for us that this visit was successful from our business perspective. So this will be also marked as a conversion. So customer validated the credit card, and he was able to do that. Now we can go even much deeper. So now we can go much deeper to the user's activity. So if there was some user action that, for example, validation of the credit card. We can show like a waterfall analysis. We can see exactly how that page has been opening, and now we can see it's not so many activities. This is eventually only validation of the credit card. But what we can do is we can go into the code, into the details. So this is bookings validation of the credit card. Sorry, my mouse is getting a bit crazy. Yes, I'm going now back down to the code, and now I can go into the code level and show you not only which processes were called by the specific activity. So my application was calling some front-end services. Then we had Nginx. Then we have 2 backend services and micro journey services. And if there were any problems with that call, the system will automatically allow you to understand whether the problem was with booking service, or maybe with the credit card verification, which that booking service was calling, or maybe that was some database affected, etc. And always you can see the percentage, meaning how many times, how much times, how many percent of that specific action was taken by the specific action, etc. So even very down, you can go down to the pure path and see that the code level of how it was executed, which may be important for your developers. I know I go pretty deep now, but I just would like to show you that that we can go into the very code level of each particular application. That is extremely important for developers to understand where the problems are without guessing, without sifting through the number of different logs, and you have that data already available. So this is more or less on what the Dynatrace is as far as the general demo is concerned. Do you have, maybe if you have any questions? I don't see any questions in the Q&A panel. If you have something, please don't hesitate to ask. So obviously Dynatrace is much more. As I said, we have synthetic monitoring. We have diagnostics tools which will allow you to go deeper for threat analysis, for memory dumps, to see top web requests, etc. So this is much more in that. We also monitor the network in the basic way, so we can understand the dependencies between components, etc. We have a lot of technologies currently covered only with that demo system. For example, Kubernetes. If you have Kubernetes, we have two clusters here, and we can see some additional data which don't come from OneAgent. This data, for example, that currently you can see come from API. Kubernetes has its API, and it provides some additional metrics, like maybe show me the number of limits or available resources which are in your system, how many workloads they are, what the events we had in our system, some images pulled, some containers created. We can see that in one single element, and eventually we can see the nodes for that specific cluster. So obviously we can have the list of nodes, and because those nodes are already instrumented with OneAgent, we can drill down and go into the specific host where I was somewhere at the very at the very beginning. So this is my specific host, and because Dynatrace knows there are processes and containers, it already can show me, okay, on that specific host which containers, for example, run. So we have that smooth integrations, that seamless integrations with the data which come from between the data which come from agent down to the data which come to the Dynatrace through the ingestion. And well, obviously we could get much deeper. Colleagues from HTS are on site, so if you have the need for some additional demos, so for additional explanations, please don't hesitate to contact them. They are very skillful and experienced engineers for the Dynatrace. So, well, we could go even much deeper for analysis if you would be interested, but I'm aware that maybe not only developers are on the call, so I will do this demo as general as possible. Obviously, remembering that we are not able to show every single option in that specific area. So now, as I promised, I presented now a little bit about how we can monitor, how deep we can monitor application. So what is the function? What is the APM function of that specific application? But I now would like to show you a little bit other approach to the Dynatrace. This is obviously all the same Dynatrace, but I would like to show you a little bit more of details which business can extract for the analysis. So currently I have also created my own environment. So this is my demo environment, but the demo environment is something that I just presented you until now. Now I have provided my own environment. So this is my own sandbox where I have also deployed the application which is called Easy Travel. And I have that Easy Travel application also working. By the way, you could also join that, open that web page and browse a little bit and see how Dynatrace, how Easy Travel actually works. So this is current address of that page. And what I can do, I can simply buy a trip. So this is my web page related with Easy Travel. I hope that you can see that screen well. So now I can log in, or I can first maybe choose the trip. I don't need to log in first. So I will, for example, what is my plan? I would like to go to, I don't know, Bahama, wherever. I don't know, I don't have Bahamas, so maybe some other exotic place, which name I don't know. I can click search. Okay, now I have my results of my search. By the way, I have also some recommendations. Okay, so I would like to go into this Shelter Island Heights in Bahrain. So I have my offered price from $1,119. So I can click OK, next. Now I can decide how many travelers I will travel with. There is no option for me, by the way. I have three children, not two. So okay, all I can do is I can select 2 adults and 2 kids. I click book now. By the way, I already have the amount, which is something that web page already provided me as an offer. I'm clicking book now, and now I am okay. Now I need to sign in. So either I can type in my email address, or I can click that button and I will, oh, this is a little padlock, and I can select any other suggested email and password combination, but I have my own. Okay, so if I start, for example, typing, for example, I can see, I can have some artificial names. I could, you know, click that and fill login and password, but I will type in my own email address, which is that was the one, if I'm not mistaken, which I used to register here, password, sign in, okay. And now I have option to pay. And I have already the payment option, pay a specific price. So I can click that, but as a user, I could also abandon that. I could stop, you know, using that page at the moment and simply close the window. And that would be unconverted session to the business. But in this specific example, I will click that. Obviously, I don't want you to type in the correct credit card number. You can click that button to auto fill. I click now book journey, and I'm doing the payment actually. Yes, so payment actually is done. So now my journey was booked successfully. Open summary and print out the tickets. So this is my visit, and this specific visit was recorded, was observed by Dynatrace. And once I clicked that validation of the credit card, there was payment done, which is visible obviously on somewhere in the backend of the system. So this is Dynatrace. Dynatrace monitors currently that specific Easy Travel application, but it's not only Easy Travel, it's also some synthetic services which simulates the user traffics. But we see this Easy Travel service, customer front end, we have authentication service, we have journey service, we have credit card validation component, we have booking service, etc., which communicate to each other. And I have also the applications, and my, for example, Easy Travel Angular application works on 2 different services, on 2 different processes. We have Apache and Nginx service, which work together to serve the data for that specific application. We have one host, and it's all deployed in the AWS to show you how it looks. So now it is important that that all the data is monitored by the Dynatrace. So, for example, if I go into the user, or maybe, okay, I can open the applications. But before I go into that specific application, okay, I have my Easy Travel Angular, and I have all the visits related with that specific application visible. I see how many and what kind of browsers did I have. Was it Chrome? Was it Edge? Was it Internet Explorer? I have information about geographical location, where the user came from, load actions, custom actions, updates. So this is how good performance was for that. How many errors I had on my page. how many errors of a different types. This is all technical information, and also which other resources we're using. We already saw that this Easy Travel web service and some other service in that. We can see how many and what kind of external elements we saw. So all that technical information is already gathered by Dynatrace, but also we see so-called user behavior. So how many new users versus returning users? What is the bounce rate, meaning how many users actually stopped activity after the first page, and why it was that? What was the user actions actually which make people our page inattractive, so they decided to leave. Let's imagine you have some marketing campaign and you want users to come into your web page, and then people simply open one page and don't continue. You probably would like to understand where that user actually, on which page that user decided to resign. Exit actions. What was the last actions of that specific user? And as I mentioned, overall conversion. So how many visits were actually converted? How many users did what we actually expected from them to do? I have my conversion set as credit card validated. So if credit card was validated, then users actually did what we expected from them to do. Obviously, you can create a couple of more conversion goals. It is no problem. So all that information is monitored with the module which is called Real User Monitoring. This is part of the digital experience management and monitoring that Dynatrace actually offers. So now maybe we would like to go into the specific user sessions as we did before. So I can find some user activity, and then we can see the users activity. And by the way, users activity, with the user activity, as I shown you, there is a couple of more parameters or properties that them can extract for you. We can know what is the destination, where customer decided to go, what is where the customer went to the trip. What is the member status? Maybe customer has a gold status or platinum that we would like them to be perfectly with a good condition. Maybe that member status is none. What was the cost of the trip? What trip cost was offered, and what is the final revenue? Revenue meaning what was the booking value? Okay, I was offered for some price for one person, but now I did the order for a greater price because I have my family larger. So this is all additional parameters which Dynatrace will collect for you, which can grab from the application without touching the code. Because how do we do that? We can, for the application, we can easily define the additional properties. Okay, so I can go here to the edit. I can see what additional, not only conversion goals, but user and session properties we have. Yes, we have booking, we have destination, we have income, and we have member status. Yes, and depending on where this data come from, you can, for example, extract that from web page directly from some CSS selector, or maybe that is some server-side request attribute, because we have that correlated with the server-side attribute. So that all those properties are already related, already available at the collection, and will simply allow you to understand for each individual session how that looks like. And why actually is it important? Okay, it is important because for each individual user, you can see how it looks like and how that looks like. But probably if you have that data for each and every user activity, you would like to get some additional business value out of that data. So now, if we go into the user session list, we have the feature which is called user session query. And now you can do the additional query of that. So for example, you would like to see, select some, for example, what is the total value of the booking? Yes, so select of the double properties booking. Okay, so my booking is the my booking is the property which I get. So I would like to have the sum of each properties from the user session. So for last 2 hours, this is the value, $700,000. Immediately you have the business value. Okay, maybe not sum, but maybe average. What is the average payment? Bam, you have that value already here, you know, at the available. Yes, so maybe then you would like to group the users by member status. Yes, member status. Okay, run query, and you have that information. Okay, we have the numbers, but we don't yet the member status. So I would like to select not only value, but also the name of the metric from the user status. And now we have that information. The people with platinum spend this amount of money, none, gold, silver, null. So we have the data already. Obviously, you can show it in the bar chart, line chart, pie chart, or maybe as a single, as a table. So this is something that you can do, or you can click and pin that to the dashboard, and you can use that kind of a value as a dashboard. So maybe now I would like to see something like that. I will do a copy and paste. Select count. So how many sessions did we have where the trip cost was larger than 0, but there was no booking? Okay, so somebody went to the okay, already did some order, but didn't pay actually from different reasons. Maybe it was a bad credit card, or maybe price was too high and he decided, or she decided not to buy the trip. Yes, so now you can do that query, and we have that number. You can also see which user exactly is that. So instead of selecting the count, we can also do a similar query, but I will select user ID from my user sessions where trip cost was above 0, but double properties is null and user ID is not null. So I can see which individual users, I can see which users actually stopped doing that. And now I can even go and see that specific user session, yes, where we have the trip cost, but we don't have booking. What actually this session never went into the payment. So this is ability of Dynatrace to extract, slice, and dice the data in completely different, okay, I wouldn't say unlimited way, but very flexible way to extract that business data like that. And now, obviously, you would like to have that all dashboards together. By default, Dynatrace doesn't come with a big amount of dashboards, but luckily, Dynatrace has something which is called okay, this is not Dynatrace initiatives. This is one of my colleagues from Sales Engineers initiative. So we have some kind of a configurator. So we have a configurator which allows me to configure the data through the API. As I mentioned, Dynatrace has an extensive API. I can also access my API from, for example, my Postman. So I can do the configuration through the API. I can read the data, write the data from the Dynatrace, and exactly this is the paradigm that this piece of code is using. Again, it's publicly available. You can use it. You can try that. even you have, if you are on trial, if you are existing customer, you can do that. So now I'm currently typing in my tenant URL ID and token. I need to create the token to be able to connect to the environment. So obviously, if you well, Dynatrace is available through the API. It's not only user interface, but sorry, it wasn't that. It was integration, Dynatrace API, and I can create a couple of different APIs. And for that BizOps configurator, I have created the token that allows me to, for example, read and write configuration. And my token is here. This is my token. I can click connect, and now I'm connected to my specific tenant. So now I can deploy the tenant overview. I can deploy some set of dashboards, because I don't want to manually type in all those data in the user through the USQL. So I can create that, and I have a couple of different templates. By the way, this is open. You can add some additional templates if you want. You can create your own templates, or your own dashboards, but this is like a cheat sheet. This is like a little bit template that can help you to make that things faster. So for example, if you are interested in infrastructure, you can just upload that, and that will allow us to see some additional infrastructure related dashboards. Now we have some infrastructure management portals, and as you can see, a lot of different additional reports or dashboards. And now we have already out of the box report related with infrastructure that you can again slice and dice. It's a lot of links. You can go if you are interested in CPU, memory, AWS, Kubernetes, availability, you name it. You can go and see some. There is a link. So this is the list of dashboards that were just deployed with one click, as you can see. But okay, maybe I will just delete that, because this is infrastructure monitoring, and this is not what I'm interested currently in. So now I can click dashboards again, and I don't see the dashboards anymore. So look how easy it was. But maybe I'm not interested in infrastructure, but in BizOps, in business operations. So now I will provide some name like Georgian demo. I will upload that. Okay, it's already the some dashboards is already there. Okay, I need to refresh the dashboards view. So now I can click and I can see this is my customer experience dashboard. So I have a couple of different statistics like active sessions, requests, updates, errors, etc. with the links. Okay, this is nice, but it doesn't contain the data, the business data that we just discussed. So now I can deploy something that we are calling application overview. And I will focus on my application, Easy Travel. Again, I can, but I don't have to provide some friendly name. I click upload. Okay, now I have something much more specific to my Easy Travel Angular portal. So I go back and see that we have already something much more specific to the application itself. Okay, we have session, duration, requests, analysis, etc. But I will also deploy journey. So journey is the steps which user had to do. So now journey will have some name like Georgia 2020, whatever. Overview. This will be user journey with or without KPI. I have KPI defined because my KPI is booking, because this is my most important KPI, and I will call it as maybe not booking but revenue. I click next. now I have my funnel. Okay, so this is 4 steps, or it can be more. You can add more or less if you want. That will provide some steps. So first step will be loading of the page. This is obvious. Second will be click on search. Now we have book now, and the third one will be obviously validation of the credit card. So clicking of the click on book journey validation. Yes, so this is my awareness, interest, evaluation, and decision. Obviously, you can rename it if you don't like where decision. You can like I don't know, purchase. So this is that. So we have that there steps. I click next, and actually I can okay, I can use some additional user session properties or maybe focus on specific locations only. But now I okay, it's also possible to test two applications one with another, so we can do some comparison. Maybe we have some campaign active, then we can also track that, etc. But just for sake of clarity, I will upload that in my dashboard. So now we have already our Georgia 2020 portal. So now I go back into the list of dashboards, and I go into my dashboard. And what do I have out of that automatically? I have now many more business specific informations. What was the revenue? How many conversions did I have? What was the lost revenue? Again, how is it defined? You can always click and see what is behind that. Select sum of booking, which will be named lost revenue, where user action application is Angular, okay, and user action loading of page, okay, when the page was loaded, and that was no validation of the credit card. That's pretty simple. This will provide us the sum of the session, which of the money which was not actually booked as we expected. Now we can also have you know, many more other views, and we have also that link user journey. So I can go into our dashboard, which I called Georgia 2020 user journey, and I can see awareness, interest, evaluation, and purchase. And I have business related details like, okay, how many, what was the duration of in the phase of awareness? How many it was? It was 189 opening of the page, but only 37 of that were in the next step, which means we had 152 abandons, interest, evaluation, and purchase. We can track that. We can see the details. If we are interested in the details of purchase, we can click on that and, you know, see details related with that specific one. How many users were frustrated? What was the updates, etc. All that information we already have. Revenue by city. Beijing, Zurich, etc. We have that data out of the box almost immediately without need of like programming in the USQL as I shown you initially. So I could do yet another couple of different sessions like that. By the way, if we go into the Dynatrace, as I mentioned, Dynatrace is also a product which data you can get data through the API, exactly the same exactly the same USQL you can get through the through the API. So currently I'm using Postman to connect to the to my session, and I will click data. I will click that, and I will return the value, return the value of my query through the API in exactly the same way as I did with my user interface. So Dynatrace you can access either through the user interface or you can go through the API to that. You can extract additional data, additional metrics. It's a lot of different collections here available on that you can use. You can list metrics. You can create entities. You can get data. You can get audit logs through the APIs. You can do settings, etc. So it's a lot of possibilities which probably would require another session for you to show the capabilities. So I actually did what I wanted for you I wanted to show you the capabilities of Dynatrace, not only in the space of the pure APM, but I hoped I shown also you the value of Dynatrace as a for a BizOps capabilities. So how business actually can get the value out of Dynatrace, and also how easy it could be to use that. For the details, please contact with our friends from HTS who are local, who are very well experienced with Dynatrace. I hope you find that presentation useful. Please don't hesitate to contact us. Contact us through the HTS as a Dynatrace, and I'm happy to answer some questions if there are any. I have one more case I wanted to show you today, but maybe it's too much already. So the case I wanted to show you is how we can extract the data that we collect through the API, and then maybe visualize that in the Excel, because this is also possible. Unless I don't see any questions so far. So if there are no questions, I will do that quickly to show you yet another example how easy business-related data can be taken from the Dynatrace. So there is one metric which I created in the Dynatrace, which is so-called calculated service metrics. Yes, so I created the metric which is called revenue by loyalty. Yes, so I'm simply tracking the revenue using the loyalty for the splitting. Yes, so this is exactly the metric which I have. So now I can, in my environment API, list all the metrics. So I will use anything which is called revenue by loyalty. Okay, I have that already answered, because this is a list of all available metrics. I could list all the metrics from which are available in the Dynatrace without touching anything to that field, and I would get a list of 1,800 different metrics. But I'm about to focus on my specific one, which is called service revenue by loyalty. This is, by the way, calculated metrics. This is something that I created by myself. So now I can get the descriptor of that metric. So this is the more detailed description of that. Okay, I can see this is aggregation types. I can use auto, average, count, max, min, sum. Default is average. I can also work on that. I can do some transformation. I can merge. I can provide some additional names. I can filter out, etc. And we have two dimensions: service, and the other dimension is that loyalty status. And now, if I want, I can get a data point of that specific metrics. Again, page type will be 1000. Resolution from to, okay, metric selection is that my revenue by loyalty. Resolution, I will, it's, you can always take a look on that. Yes, this is daily, for example, D for day. From, for example, now -1 week. So let's take a look at last 7 days to now. And I click boom, send. And I have information about the metrics. Yes, I have timestamps, which is time, and I have values for separately for platinum, for silver, and for known, and for gold statuses. Okay, maybe somebody doesn't like JSON too much. Instead of that, maybe you would like to see the CSV. And then in the header, we can add additional field, which is accept. And now we instruct text CSV. Yes, so now we say to Dynatrace server, hey, please send me only the CSV file. Yes, so instead of JSON, I will click send, and I'm getting the list of data in form of the CSV file. Yes, I can just copy and paste that to the Excel. Okay, data, text to column, delimited with comma. I'm not big expert on Excel, to be honest. General value, advanced, okay, decimal separator is dot, not, okay. All right, so now we have that already data in Excel with the header. So now what I can do, I can click insert, pivot chart, and I can use the value as the value. How was that? The dimension is that, and the time will be in that axis. Yes, so we have the data points. Probably that bar chart is not very friendly to us. So I will change chart type to line, for example, or maybe even 3D line. And now with a literally couple of clicks, we have business data exported from Dynatrace. Yes, we have information, what was the value of all requests from silver, platinum, known, and gold. So this is how easy it is. By the way, I think that I used the default one, which is average. So probably I should have used the sum instead. Parameter should be used the sum, not average. So the data would be different. Yes, now we have sum, so it's completely different, values. But anyway, this is showing you more or less how easy it is with exporting data, business-related data from Dynatrace to the external system, like I'm showing you here as an example of the Excel. How easy it is to extract the data from through the API. Also, similarly, we can ingest the data to the Dynatrace using the same API. This is something doable and pretty easy, and provides much more data for the business, not just for the pure APM observability, which is also important, but those two areas are complementary as far as the Dynatrace is concerned. Okie dokie. Any questions?
That's Eugene. So I don't see any more questions. Janusz, thanks for awesome demo and detailed overview of business part of the Dynatrace. Sandro,
Yeah.
passing the word to you.
Sandro.
Thank you, Janusz. Thank you, Eugen. I think we are done. So thank you to all participants. So good luck and have a nice day.
Thank you very much, everybody, and good luck. Have a great rest of the day. Bye-bye.
Bye.